In this video, we'll be looking at compound conditionals. So I have already set up this little program, and it should look fairly familiar to, similar to the things that we have done so far. So I have my response variable, and I have my input, and here's the question that I'm going to ask: what's your favorite donut shop? Now I have my if, elif, else, and I have if response equals Tim Hortons. Then print I love Timmy's too. elif, so this is the second thing I'm going to check in case the first thing was not true. elif response equals Tim Hortons, but this time I have Tim Hortons lowercase because I know sometimes people are too lazy to capitalize all the names, and so they do lowercase. But I want the same response. Look, I love Timmy's too. I love Timmy's too. I mean, it's the same. It's basically the same thing, right? So I have the same response, and then I have my else and have you consider Tim Hortons. Okay, that's fine. So this is totally fine. It totally works. If I run it and I write Tim Hortons capital letters, I love Timmy's too, and if I write it lowercase, I love Timmy's too, same exact response. But I want to do this a little bit more efficiently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the if, and I'm going to say if response equals Tim Hortons, and I'm going to add something to the end of this. I'm going to say or response equals Tim Hortons, just like that. And that means I can delete these two lines because if it's this one or if it's this one, either way, it'll do this this message. Now this can only work if the message is going to be the same in both cases. Okay, if it's a different message, then we can't do the or. But in this case, we're going to delete this. Okay, and it's going to work. So let's run it. We'll say Tim Hortons capital letters. I love Timmy's too, and run it again. Tim Hortons lowercase, and I love Timmy's too. So this is working. One thing that I want you to note is we have response equals Tim Hortons capital, or, and then I have the whole, basically the whole equation again. And you might say, why do I need response equals again? And in fact, if I delete this part, it's still going to work actually. I love Timmy's too. I love Timmy's too. It still actually works, but it's tricking you. Don't fall for this. If you don't put the first part of the equation, it doesn't really work because, okay, let me delete that again. Let me keep that in and I'll show you what is supposed to happen. Okay, Lee's Donuts. Okay, and then it gives me this message: have you considered Tim Hortons? Have you considered Tim Hortons? If I don't have this, okay, I love Tim Hortons capital or Tim Hortons lowercase, and I run it. What's your favorite donut shop? And I put Lee's Donuts. It will say this message. In fact, no matter what I put there, it's gonna say that message. That's because this is always true. And that's just a little, I guess, a little trick in how Python works, is that basically you're saying, is this thing true or false? Okay? Or is this thing true or false? Right? So this might be true or it might be false. Depends if I wrote Tim Hortons or not. But this right here is always true because any string, when you say, is a string true or not, is always true. So that's why we need the full equation. Otherwise, it's just always going to be true. So don't get tricked. Don't get tricked by that. Okay? Because we want to have the else if, if we need to have that. All right, so I believe that's all for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.